with breaking news. An arrest of a man in Seattle in connection to a string of suspicious packages sent to government facilities in the D.C. area. 3 were sent to military bases, 3 to other government intelligence facilities, including a CIA mail screening center. Officials say each of the packages contained bomb components inside, but none of them exploded and no one was hurt. The packages also included letters officials described as rambling and disturbing. Authorities have not yet named the man taken into custody, but say he was known to law enforcement. A motive is not yet clear. New this noon, 2 children are dead after an early morning fire at a home in St. Mary's County. It happened shortly before 5 this morning at a home along Point Lookout Road in Leonardtown. The children died at the scene. Fire officials say both appear to be younger than 6. 2 adults and 2 children were taken to the hospital for treatment. There's no word on their conditions at this time. Funeral arrangements have been set for the 16-year-old killed last week in a shooting at Great Mills High School. A visitation and prayer service will be held on Thursday for Jalen Willie. On Friday, she will be laid to rest. Her parents made the difficult decision last week to take their daughter off of life support. Meantime, we're learning more about last week's shooting from the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office. We now know that Austin Rollins shot his ex-girlfriend Jalen Willie before killing himself. Investigators say after the suspect shot both Jalen and another student, he shot himself in the head. Staff will go back to Great Mills High School next Monday. The students will return a week from today. An unusual discovery at an elementary school in Harford County, a machete in the parking lot. Authorities say a group of parents talking in the parking lot found the machete in a melting snowbank. It had a 12-inch blade. Investigators say it looks like the knife fell in the parking lot sometime before the latest snowfall, and it was pushed into a snowbank by a plow. They don't know how the machete got on the property in the first place. Baltimore County Police have charged a man with stabbing at a landfill in Cockeysville. Christopher Johnson faces first-degree assault for the road rage incident between 2 junk removal companies along Beaver Dam Road. Police say one of the crews accused the other crew of cutting them off. An argument ensued, turning violent when surveillance cameras showed Johnson punching another man in the face. Police say Johnson stabbed a second man who ran to assist the person who was punched. Police have identified the person who died while in custody at the Carroll County Detention Center yesterday morning. Investigators say 53-year-old Dominic Edward was arrested by deputies from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Deputies told state police that he was being held in a cell under suicide protocol after being arrested for first-degree assault. Maryland State Police Homicide Unit investigators are leading the investigation into his death. We are now less than 2 weeks away from the end of the legislative session in Annapolis. On Monday, Governor Hogan gave an update on his priorities for 2018, calling for votes on a number of issues, including school safety, health care, violent crime, tax relief, and education. The governor says one of the most important bills to pass the Senate is waiting for action in the House. His crime bill would institute tougher sentences for repeat violent criminals and gun offenders. Meantime, City Council President Jack Young wants everyone in the city to have internet access. Last night, he introduced a package of resolutions exploring the issue that it would be free. Young called internet access a basic human right. Some scoff at the idea, while others say it's a fundamental right that it puts folks from all walks of life on the same playing field. The council president wants a city-owned broadband network and a study on how the repeal of net neutrality is impacting the city. Johns Hopkins University professor Avi Rubin says Young's idea is a sign of the times.
Somewhere along the line, our society decided that you had to have indoor plumbing, you had to have clean water in your house, and you had to have heat and air conditioning. And those became basic necessities that you would expect in every home. And now we're looking at the possibility of including internet access in that. And I think in this day and age, that makes a lot of sense.
In all, the plan includes 3 things: an investigation into how repealing net neutrality would affect the city, a hearing on the physical status of the city's conduit system, and a study on exactly how all this would work. More fallout this noon from the alleged affair between President Trump and adult film star Stormy Daniels. In a new lawsuit, she claims the president's attorney broke the law. 11 News reporter Tracy Potts has the latest from Washington.
Stormy Daniels' attorney is making 2 new arguments in court against President Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen. 1, that Cohen defamed the adult film star by suggesting she lied about an affair they say they can prove. And 2, that he broke campaign finance laws by paying her $130,000 not to talk about it.
We're going to get to the bottom of this. It's really simple. We don't understand why the president and Mr. Cohen won't stand up and answer some basic questions.
Senior administration officials tell NBC they've counseled the president not to respond. The White House says President Trump does not believe Daniels was threatened and continues to insist there was no affair.
The president strongly, clearly, and has consistently denied these underlying claims, and the only person who's been inconsistent is the one making the claims.
Daniels' lawsuit focuses on whether Michael Cohen was acting on behalf of the president when he paid her days before the election.
It increases the heat probably for the Federal Election Commission to at least discuss whether to open an investigation here and to get a response from the Trump campaign.
Cohen says it was his money, not reimbursed by the campaign or the Trump organization.
Cohen was not immediately available for comment about the lawsuit. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Russia is promising retaliation after their diplomats were expelled from multiple countries. At least 100 diplomats in more than 25 countries, including the United States, have made the move in one of the largest mass expulsions in history. This is all in response to the recent nerve agent attack on a former Russian military intelligence officer in Britain. Russian officials say they analyzed the situation before submitting a proposal for retaliatory action to President Vladimir Putin. Officials continue to say they had nothing to do with the poisoning earlier this month. Coming up at 11 News at noon, Carrie Engel from Valley View Farms is here to answer your plant and garden questions. But first, a former Michigan State University dean who supervised ex-USA gymnastics physician Larry Nassar has been arrested. What he's charged with today. Plus, a mysterious train visit to Beijing is fueling a lot of speculation. Did North Korea's Kim Jong-un visit China? A Michigan State University dean is facing criminal charges for allegedly inappropriately touching a student and storing nude photos of female students. Authorities say William Strampel oversaw a clinic where former sports doctor Larry Nassar worked. The photos were stored on his work computer. The complaint charges that he charges him with fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct, neglect of duty, and misconduct of a public official. Last year, Strampel told police that he never followed up after ordering Nassar in 2014 to have a third person present when providing treatment. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared Wednesday a national day of mourning for the victims of a shopping mall fire that killed at least 64 people. Putin flew to the city of Kemerovo to look at the investigation and visit some of those still in the hospital. Putin blames what he calls criminal negligence for a deadly fire on Sunday. Investigators speaking to Russian media say a fire alarm had been out of service for a week prior to that. They add that fire exits were blocked. Russia's investigative committee said 4 people have been detained. A mysterious train visit to Beijing is fueling a lot of speculation. Did North Korea's Kim Jong-un visit China? Reporter Bill Neely has the details from Seoul, South Korea.
A motorcade, heavy security and near lockdown in downtown Beijing this morning, where a North Korean train unexpectedly pulled into the city last night. The distinctive green train is identical to the heavily armored one used to carry Kim Jong-un's father to Beijing 8 years ago. The diplomatic car he last used there, matching the blackened limousine carrying today's mystery guest. The speculation intense that it's Kim Jong-un himself here for secret talks with the Chinese. If it is Kim, it would be his first trip outside North Korea since becoming leader 7 years ago. And China's President Xi would become the first foreign leader he's met, months before Kim's proposed summit with President Trump. North Korea's repeated missile and nuclear tests have angered China, its only real ally. China joined the global sanctions to pressure Kim Jong-un, economic sanctions that are biting, so Kim needs friends. And China wants a word in his ear before he talks to President Trump and to South Korea's President Moon. That meeting potentially just weeks away. Well, Kim Jong-un hasn't actually been seen for a month. When his father visited Beijing, the news wasn't confirmed by either side until he'd crossed back into North Korea. This may be following the same pattern. Local media now saying the train has now left Beijing. South Korea says this is all a very positive sign. At the White House, they'll be following this very closely. Bill Neely, NBC News, Seoul, South Korea.
Still to come on 11 News, Carrie Engel from Valley View Farms is here to answer your plant and garden questions. And suffering from pain in your lower back? Well, a head medical alert, what doctors say is the best form of treatment.
It is going to warm up over the next few days, but we do have some rain to talk about, even on opening day. We'll show you the 7-day coming up in just a few minutes. First, a look outside. It's a nice shot of Camden Yards right there. Temperatures in the low 40s and the clouds are thickening up. Stay tuned. Weather's next.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I forgot to send questions.